Okay, first, it was former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg and former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick. Now we have yet another sign of the growing anxiety among some Democrats that the massive field of candidates already out there in the race are not going to be able to unseat President Trump.
As I say, never say never. And I will certainly tell you I'm under enormous pressure from many people to think about it.
Joining me now, host of The Next Revolution right here on Fox News, Steve Hilton. Great to have you with us, Steve.
Hi, Shannon.
Okay, so what do you make of Hillary Clinton's assessment that there are a lot of people who actually want her to get into the race? She's feeling the pressure to do so.
Yeah, I'm just laughing at that, Shannon, because I'm just wondering who these many people are. Are they even Democrats? Because it seems to me the people who would be most excited to see Hillary Clinton get into the race and get the nomination would actually be Republicans, because she's proved before she's a terrible candidate, and I'm sure she'd be very happy to prove that again. I think the other point that makes me laugh about this whole will she, won't she situation with Hillary Clinton is, if you think about it, given what the Democrats say about 2016 and about President Trump, that he's an illegitimate president, that Hillary Clinton herself is the rightful president, the Russians interfered and Trump didn't win the popular vote anyway, so really she should be president. If you think about it, she should be unopposed in this primary. She should be running for her second term. So the fact that the Democrats aren't publicly clamoring for her to do this shows that I don't know who these people are, but I don't think it's Democrats wanting her to get in.
Well, let me play something from Senator Lindsey Graham, obviously a Republican, a big supporter and confidant of the president. He says actually she could be dangerous because of this.
She hasn't promised crazy stuff. She hasn't promised to give illegal immigrants free health care. She hasn't promised to decriminalize illegal entry into the country. I don't think she supports the Green New Deal or Medicare for all. In that regard, it would be more difficult for the Republicans to have somebody not as wacky.
Okay, so he says she hasn't promised crazy stuff and not as wacky.
Well, that's certainly true. She hasn't yet, but neither had Joe Biden when he entered the race. And remember, he was described as the moderate, but he's shifted his positions to the left, recognizing that that's the only way to get anywhere in the Democratic Party. Look at some of his positions. For example, he's promised already free health care for all illegal immigrants. That is not a moderate position at all. And you can look at what he's done, for example, on abortion and one issue after another, the Hyde Amendment. You know, he's really showing that, that there's no such thing, really, as a moderate in today's Democratic Party. You just can't get anywhere. The base has gone so far to the left. It's dragging everyone with them.
Okay, so let's look at a couple of polls here. This is a Fox News poll in October, asked if Hillary Clinton got into the race, what would you think? This is among Democratic primary caucus voters. You could see this here between definitely vote for, considering voting for, definitely wouldn't vote for, don't know. You could see there, you know, she's got a tough uphill battle with Democratic primary voters. She's going to go there. Now let's look at this brand new Monmouth, Iowa poll. Now Pete Buttigieg is at the top of this field, pushing Biden out of the top spot. Is he peaking too early? What is it about him? Listen, it's trouble for some of the other contenders there who have been sort of the old guard.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I've always thought that Joe Biden, his flaws and his weaknesses as a candidate, not just the allegations of corruption that you've talked about, but just the fact that he can barely get through an event without showing that he really hasn't got what it takes to do the top job. I always thought that he wouldn't really survive as the front runner. And so for those voters who are looking for an alternative to the declared socialist Bernie Sanders and the person who says she's not a socialist, but actually her policies are basically identical, Elizabeth Warren, you've got to have a choice. It can't just be Biden. I actually had thought that Kamala Harris would come out strongest in terms of those alternatives, but she's really faltered. She hasn't run a good campaign. And Pete Buttigieg, you know, he's a very good performer. I think, again, when you scrutinize his policies, there's a lot of rich targets there for Republicans, but he's certainly very plausible. You can see why he's doing well in Iowa because, you know, he's local, effectively from Indiana. He's close. He understands the communities there. So, and he's done a very strong, put a lot of effort into organizing on the ground in Iowa, and it's paying rewards.
Yeah, he has. He's done a ton of events there as well, which, listen, you know, it's retail politics there. People want to see you in their house of worship, in their diner, in their home. He's been spending a lot of time. The investment looks like it's paying off for now. Steve Hilton, thank you for joining us.
Good to see you, Shannon.
You too.